Jesus, I love you. Jesus, I love you. Oh my. And you are welcome in. You're welcome in this place. I'm lost without you. Can't do nothing without you. Oh no. And you are welcome in. You're welcome in this place. My heart says yes. My heart says yes to your will, to your way. And you are welcome in. You're welcome in this place.
Hello, everyone. I am Tracy, everette-duncan. I'm your host with MentorMe Memorable Moments, and I am joined by Tina Wilson.
All right now.
She is co-hosting our special program segment tonight, and you met Tina, I think,
Yes.
back in March.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we had a good
Absolutely.
time with Tina
We
and
did.
Teen. Yeah.
We had a great time.
But before Tina introduces the team that she brought in, too, which are magnificent on their own, I want to say hello to 135 nations out there that have joined us on WLVS Radio and all 50 states.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
You are probably watching us through www.listenvisionlive.com or through MentorMe411.com, which is MentorMe Memorable Moments website. So we do thank you for connecting with us. I think you're going to be excited about tonight's program. The first segment, we're going to talk about, transitioning to what? We've got some high school graduates out there, Tina.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
some of them don't know what they're going to do or where they're going to go,
Right,
okay?
right.
And the parents are just as nervous as they are. But we're going to give you some help, even if you have graduated already, or parents, if you have some students that are still at home and maybe they're coming out of 11th grade, and even 10th grade.
That's right.
Yeah, because it's starting
That's
that
right.
early, and you need some help on what are they going to do when they get out of high school. Then we're going to give you some help on that.
Right.
But we also have in the second half Tina
Yes.
and her team that are going to be talking about qualifying the relationship.
Qualifying the relationship.
What's
what
that all
does it
about?
look like, young ladies and young men?
So I know you brought your guests with you.
did,
So let me
I
let
did.
you introduce who is here in the house.
Yes, yes. I am so excited to have two beautiful black men. Yes. Joining us today, and we've been working together for the past 6 months or so, longer with another gentleman, and we have been having a great time down in Charles County, teaching in the social services department. And these two gentlemen are actually leading the charge on the Fatherhood Initiative for Charles County, working with another gentleman. And so I have with me Mr. Stacy Jordan, extraordinaire, motivational
Welcome
extraordinaire.
back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And then we also have the one and the only Mr. Big Chocolate.
What's up, my people? What's
Skip
up, my
Bland.
What's up, fam?
It was interesting because when you and Skip walked through the door,
Yes.
I mean, we tell everyone when we're broadcasting these segments that when we bring someone to the table, we never know that we have all connected
right.
at one point in time. And
Absolutely.
you reminded me that Skip was part of our work
That's
that
right.
we did down at Salvation
Down-
Army. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Always giving back.
Long time ago. Oh, that is so
don't
important.
know.
Hold
Yeah, it is.
that thought.
That's right. That's right.
So we're going to go ahead and kick off the first segment. Everybody's going to join in on this.
All right.
Mike, if you can go ahead and load the slides, we're going to talk about transitioning to what? So we want you to think about it for a minute. Next slide, please. Think about it for a minute. Transition is inevitable on any level. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So these are just some examples right now of what transitioning looks like. Okay, you're transitioning from singlehood to married, from not being a parent to parenting, from being uneducated to educated. Say, well, Tracy, what does that mean? That means you know more today than you knew yesterday, and you didn't
Correct.
even have to go to school to learn
That's
it.
right.
Okay,
That's right.
so you may be married and you're going in through a divorce.
That's a transition.
That is,
Now, that's a
oh,
real
it is-
transition.
It
Yes.
is very emotional, and you're living today, but you also may be planning for your death.
Yes.
And here's the one that kind of hits us every year. You're transitioning from high school to what? Now,
That's
I know
interesting.
those babies are graduating out of kindergarten. And you got some elementary students graduating too, and they can't wait to bust through middle school.
Right.
Oh my
Right.
God.
Right. I'm growing up. I'm grown now.
Yeah. And then you got middle school going into high school, and it doesn't look like, parents or students are planning like they should.
Right,
Because by the time they get into high school, your days are a little less. You don't have to go to all those classes that you used to go to, because if you take just enough credits and you get out of school early, I remember those
Right.
days.
Right.
Mhm.
My daughter did that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. But then all of a sudden you get to that magic number, 12th grade, and the hustle begins.
Yes.
Because you're trying to get all of those scholarship documents completed. You're trying to figure out where you're going to go to college. You've been screwing up all during the year now. You're trying to get enough credit so that you can graduate. I mean, a whole lot is going on at that time. And so what I want to talk to the parents about is what happens after graduation. Even if you are at that point where you are graduating now and it may be too late to you, there's still some things that you can do to help your student get through after graduation. So let's take a look at this. And I know if William's watching, he'll probably have some words because he didn't know I was going to swipe that picture.
Well, that's William.
Yeah, that's me and William.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, so
Afro.
back in the
William.
day.
Yes. That is really throwback.
Yes, yes. So congratulations, you're now a graduate. And that means that you worked really hard for that diploma. And some students aren't graduating from high school, they're graduating from GED, and you work just as hard for that GED
That's
as
right.
well. It's a moment that you want to celebrate. You want to remember the fun times. You purchase that end of the year book,
Right,
yearbook,
right,
and
the
everybody's
yearbook.
signing anything. So Skip, what did they sign in your yearbook?
They said I was a class clown.
No.
No,
Say it
no.
ain't so.
Class clown, most enjoyable, really easygoing. It was a great transition for me. I think one of the most important things for me is that my mother was big on planning my graduation when I was like in the 9th grade.
Okay.
And I think one of the most important things that parents need to start doing is teaching their children vision at an early age, because when you think about it, if you're starting to plan something in 12th grade, it's almost too late.
That's right.
That's
It is
right.
And so
That's
what we
right,
have to
yes.
start doing, I truly believe, is getting our kids early and asking that question, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Right.
And really start putting some things behind it, because we find that once you do that early, at the 12th grade, we're just trying to figure out which school you want to go to,
That's
because you've
right.
already transitioned, you already got a plan.
Okay.
But those are my humble thoughts.
Okay, all right. Well, hold those thoughts, 'cause we got some more slides that touch on that too. What about you, Stacy?
I think it is. I agree with Skip, as usual. I think it's good to start planning early, because for me, my real story was that I tried to figure it out in the 12th grade, and all of my friends went to college, and I was at home.
Okay.
And I eventually had to find a job, and I went to school late, but my parents didn't go to college, and I think I'm probably the first one in my family to go immediately within my aunts and uncles and everybody. I was the first one to go, and there was no plan. There was never a
Right.
plan.
Okay.
We had wishes,
Yeah.
but there was no plan. So by the time SATs came, I didn't know what school I was going to. I didn't take any SAT prep, nothing. Now I scored high just because I'm
Intelligent
smart.
that you are,
He's
yes.
good like that.
but there was no plan. And I actually got offered a scholarship. Now, I would have taken this scholarship, but I'm glad when I learned about the school from people who went that I didn't take the scholarship.
Okay.
So planning can help you avoid being in some bad situations. You know, like you said, you want to start the 9th grade, even 8th grade. My daughter now is in the 5th grade,
Right.
and we're doing
Okay.
college tours.
Okay.
You know,
Yep.
so it's definitely important because you're behind. You're behind when it comes time to make a move. When scholarships come out, or if you have to do loans, which
Right.
I'm not all for loans. You do what you got to do. That's personal, but. When it comes time to do those things, you don't want to be behind because you can't have the best if there's no plan.
Right.
And I'm all for it. You need to start planning early because you don't want to end up like me, which was I went to a school that I liked, but I went late.
Okay.
And
all right.
I graduated
We'll
behind my
check
friends.
on that
so,
too. What
yeah,
about you?
Yeah.
4.
How did they sign your yearbook? How was
Oh.
your high school? Were you
Why is she
ready?
trying to sound sexy? What is this?
The most likely one to succeed. The
Okay.
natural leader.
Wow.
The
Okay.
encourager.
Mhm.
Always having fun.
Okay.
The
All right.
partier.
Okay.
I don't need to go any further.
Okay, so they signed my yearbook with my nickname Boogie.
Boogie.
Really?
Yeah, because I love to dance.
Oh my goodness. Hello.
I did. I loved it. I used to sneak out of the house at night when
Say
my
you did.
parents
No, you
went
didn't.
to sleep.
You was Shea Boogie.
Oh, yes, indeed. But Stacey, you mentioned something that you didn't go to college and you were home when your friends were at college. And Mike, if you put that slide up again, the one before that, at the bottom it says that recent high school graduates not enrolled in college in the fall were much more likely than enrolled graduates to be in the labor force, 72% compared to 37%. And that makes sense because if you're not going to college, then your parent is saying what?
You gotta get out of here.
That's right.
You
gotta do
That's right.
something.
And do something.
That's what I
That's
heard.
right. If you want to live
That's
in my
right.
house, you need to go work.
That's
okay.
right.
And so the percentage is higher for those high school graduates that are not going to college than those going to college because what do your parents say when you're going to first year college? I need you to
Right.
focus on your
That's
grades.
right.
Yes,
Mhm.
focus.
That's right.
Don't be
when we're-
partying all the time.
Well,
Well,
I don't know. I
let's
went
not
to
go
Bowie
there.
University and they taught me how to party.
And I went to Texas Southern.
Okay.
HBCU. Okay now.
Hello.
So next slide, please. So you're a graduate, but what's next? 2.9 million youth, which are about 16 to 24, graduated from high school in 2014 and started college about the August, October timeframe. And of the 2.9, 2 million of them actually enrolled and went. And when we look at the figures, 73% were young women and 64% were young men. Next slide, please. So when we look at the plans that we think that we're going to make, and it doesn't really turn out that way, over 575,000 students dropped out of high school last year, or
Amazing.
2014. And most did not plan for college until just about high school graduation, which is what we were talking about. And although community service, Skip, here we go, is a mandatory, many only give back to get ahead. That
That's
is,
right.
just give me enough credits to graduate,
right.
and then I'm
Just
going
do
to
the
blow
bare
this
minimum.
joint. Exactly. So you don't have that give back to the community. And parents did not engage early in saving towards college tuition. So everybody's not bound for college,
That's right.
unfortunately. Sometimes it's the decision, I don't want to go. Sometimes it's I don't have the funds to go. And then others, well, if I do go, is this for me? I
Right,
really
right.
don't want to do any more education.
right.
You get those that are struggling. So if we look at college, tuition is very high.
That's
it's,
correct.
it's very
It is.
expensive. And so hopefully these next slides will help the parents out there get through this. You've heard of STEM.
Yes.
Okay. Do you
Yes.
have STEM program running right now?
No.
Okay, but you're
No.
planning. 'Cause I
Yes.
think we talked about that. Okay, STEM is real hot, and although President Obama started this STEM programming or the STEM funding back in 2010, it's supposed to be measured this year whether it's successful or not. So what he did was he funded the sciences, the math, the technology, and the engineering in private organizations as well as within schools.
Right.
His whole purpose was that he wants our students to be smarter than other students of
Correct.
other nations. And in order to do that, we need to fund the activities to help them work those brains,
Right.
you know, and be smart enough to create those things that don't exist or perfect the things that have not been perfected yet. So with STEM, meaning science, technology, engineering, and math, he's thrown a lot of money into faith-based organizations, into community organizations, into school before, after programs, and during school programs. He's also looked at the institutions like the NSA,
Right.
and the other science and technology institutions, and he pulled the scientists from those institutions to create programs or activities that
Right.
would have kids get engaged and make math fun.
Right,
I
right.
love math. I do. I love math. And I did not want to get a degree in math, but I have used math to my benefit in being a tax preparer.
Right.
So those things, and looking at science and technology, engineering, and math, I mean, that was my whole degree coming through college in my undergrad and in my master's,
Right.
information technology. I
Right.
mean,
It's always been you.
Yeah, everything that you touch, there's a little sense of technology in that. And so I spoke at one of the middle schools this week and was talking about career day and what my career was like, and you know how I kind of broke into science, technology, engineering, and math, and just gave them examples, and it just like blew them away. They had no
Right.
ideas that when you drive down the street, if you just take the time to look at one of the one of the light poles, you'll see cameras on
Yes,
top. That's
yes.
they're following you.
That's right.
Walk
That's
into an
right.
office building or the department store with that black dome, security, they're following
They're
you.
following you.
Mhm.
Don't steal.
Yes, exactly. Talk to them a lot, and so I encouraged them, and I encourage you by fall start that program. And if you need me or need my resume to help
Help
you
you.
pull
Okay.
in those funds, use it, because
Okay,
I've got
will do.
over 35 years. I like to laugh and
Okay.
say that I was here when they took away the typewriter and put the personal computer on the
No,
desk.
Let's not date ourselves right now.
So
I'm
what
not
is
that old.
this? How does the paper come out of this?
That's them.
But
That old stuff.
Yeah, now we're much younger. Thank you.
But I encourage the students and I encourage our viewers to get into a STEM program. And for those adults, if you don't have a STEM program in your community, create one. You've got
Okay.
a lot of people out there that are in the telecommunications and the technology fields that can teach you and your child a lot. So start a STEMs program. And I guarantee you, you can get some money for school. There are a lot of
Okay.
scholarships. And if he has purpose that he is building funds to create these opportunities for our kids, you better jump on
That's
it.
right. That's
Jump
right.
on it. So next slide, please.
Do you have a question, Skip?
Well, not a question, but more of a statement. I
Okay.
was listening to you about how Obama has presented these programs and funding for kids, because ideally we want all of our kids in the United States to be able to compete with the international world. The problem that I see is that unless we drive our children to want to learn,
That's right.
that's an empty promise, because you can have all the programs in the world, but if our kids are not being pushed to get involved in these things, it's a waste of money. That money is sitting and never being used. And so I'd like to find out, how do we get back to driving our children who want to go to school? How do we get them
Right.
back to that thought process? Because everybody's like, well, I'm tired of school. I don't want to do anything else. Well, you already know the name of a game is learning the rules of the game,
That's right.
so that you can compete.
That's
That's
right.
right.
If you want to be able to make the big dollars and the big money, you have to equip yourself with the tools that are going to be able to provide that. And so I'm wondering what it's going to take to get us back into the driver's seat, so that we're not just sitting back asking the question on the 12th grade, what am I going to do?
Right.
Well, I'm just going to get out, or I'm just going to get a job, or well, my last ditch effort, I just go in the military. Well, even now, the military is getting to a point where we're just not taking
That's
anybody.
Right.
That's
You
correct.
got to be
Right.
smart.
Yeah.
That's why they have the ASVABs. They don't put that out there just so you can find out if you can put a nut on a widget. They want to
That's
make
right.
sure,
Right.
are you capable of learning new technologies?
No, absolutely. I agree. I agree.
hold that thought because
I
we
got
got a
you.
slide for that too.
I'm ahead of the game. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't know if parents know about this, but I started this for my grandchildren a couple of years ago, and that's Gerber Life Grow Up Plan, and it's very inexpensive. You can get life insurance on your child for about $1 to $3 a month, from $10,000 to $20,000, maybe even more. Like I said, it's been a couple of years since I've done it, so the plan I'm sure has changed. But I have 2 grandbabies, and I see about $7.53 coming out of my bank account every
Okay.
month to take care of the 2.
Right.
And it's a whole life insurance policy that I have on them in case something happens. But also by the time they turn 18, they'll have double the amount of money that I
Right.
have on them. So they have a little something that they can start school
Right.
with. You know? So parents, you may want to look at this as well.
Actually, my mother did one for me, and I end up getting this little check for like $500.
Okay.
She only had it was only like a quarter a month or something, but that's what they could afford
right.
back in, I don't want to tell my age, but back in that time.
Well, don't
Okay.
take
Yeah.
too much calculation. $500 only giving out a quarter. What gas was
right.
20 cent back then?
That's right.
So, you understand what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. I'm a Sylvia
So
boy.
it is
Oh,
a
man.
very valuable plan. Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
It works. But also, in Empowered Women Take Back Your Finances, I have a segment that I talk about with making friends with your business partners. Your business partners could be your grocer. I love to go grocery shopping on the weekend about 7 or 7:30 because that's when they're unpacking the boxes and the fresh
Okay.
fruit is going out, and I get to meet them and hello and all of that, and they get to meet me.
Right, right.
But I also talk about when you're going to the bank or the credit union or a savings institution, get to know them. They have kitty accounts. I started a kitty account for my son when he was 13 years old. He's in his 30s now. And so his kitty account, he saved. He did a lot of different things. By the time he got a little bit older, he went to his credit union or to the credit union and asked for a car loan. And of course, I had to co-sign because he was still a minor, but he got his car loan through that institution. He knows the people, they know him.
Right,
So when it
right.
came time for him to buy another car and to buy it on his own, mama didn't have to go
That's
because
right.
they
That's
knew
good.
him.
That's always a
good.
blessing.
Yeah. So those kitty accounts, you can just start off a small amount of money. It teaches them how to do banking and how to save. And then as they get older, they can go for student loans. Of course, you'll have to co-sign with them, but a little bit of student loan, they'll give them a little debit card too,
Right.
and teach them how to
Right,
use
right.
that. Be responsible
That's right.
in finances, so that when there's time for them to go to school, they have opportunity to apply for grants and loans or go into their savings account because they've been saving it throughout their lifetime.
That's
and
right.
There's their money.
That's right.
So
a
that's
good thing.
another area. So if we go to the next slide, and we know Matthew Lesko, he is on air at WLVS 1 hour before me, and I love pulling up just in time to hear him because he has a lot of great tips. But Matthew was back in our day.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when he was on the regular channels and the Question Man.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
The
yes,
Answer
yes.
Man. Yes.
What a regular channel.
Regular. Well, come on.
You know,
Right.
Channel
Really?
3.
It's a
Channel
trick.
6.
It's a
Exactly.
trick.
I was born in the cable. I don't know.
Well,
Regular
we only
channels.
have 4 channels, NBC,
That's right.
CBS,
Oh,
and
ABC.
and it went off at midnight.
That's
okay,
right. Yep,
okay.
that's
Oh,
with
my
the
right.
Star
God.
Spangled Banner.
There you
That's
go.
right.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Our
Oh,
remote
okay.
was a screwdriver
That's right.
and
antennas.
That's
The
right.
TV guy with smoke
Wire.
signals.
Rabbit
Right?
ears.
Right.
But Matthew, this
You
is
wouldn't know
what
about
he
that.
lives and breathes, this information on how to go and get free money from the federal government. So if you have not caught his program, I encourage
Oh,
you to tune
absolutely.
in. He's also on YouTube. Go and find those archive programs so that you can find out where this free money is. And as you can see that he has little tips on free money to change your life, to get a better home, free money on college and training for women, a whole lot of different things. And he also brings on guests that attest to this works. Particularly entrepreneurs, they can go out there and get a lot of free money to raise capital to start their business. And I mean, it works. Next slide, please. We're about to roll off with this. If you look at the next slide, you see that there is a scholarship app. And I am so excited about this. Have you all heard of Christopher Gray?
No.
Okay, he was on Shark Tank maybe a couple of months ago, and he created this app that, you know how in our day we used to pencil to paper these financial aid
Yes,
applications,
yes.
and you turn them in and you didn't know if you were going to get the money or not. He created an app to cut through all that. All you have to do is download that app. I think it's for a fraction of the fee, 99 cents. I did that a few months ago. It was that at that time. And you just put in your little profile, put in what you're looking for, what you want to grow up and be, and boom, it kicks out hundreds and hundreds of application or aid, financial aid that you can go after, and you qualify for them all. All different kinds of funds.
Oh, yeah.
He raised $1.3 million for his education. And that excited the Shark Tankers, and they were vying for his business.
And that's the name of his app there?
The Scully.
Scully.
Yep, Scully. And you can go to myscully.com and to his webpage and pull down. And so I encourage them. Yep, I encourage you to go get that app, because I'm looking. Skip, like you said, you know, I think you mentioned that your family was starting as early as the 8th grade. You know, we have Starlight Sides on our team. Starlight Sides is a gifted and talented retired teacher in the Prince George's Community College. I mean, community
area?
county,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And she was telling me that kids should start as early as 5 years old.
Oh my gosh.
There are essays out there for kids that are 5 years old that all they want them to do is maybe color a picture, draw a picture, or just talk about what the picture is, or something that will give them $500 towards their scholarship.
My children.
I need to do that. I got 2 grandkids.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Need to-
We're going
yeah.
to be doing something this fall in that area too, with all age ranges. But I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me hurry up and go so we can get to your segment.
Uh-oh.
One more slide, I believe. Other traditional sources are the military, like you all mentioned.
Yes.
You and I went that route
Yes,
too.
and skill.
Okay, Air
15-year
Force.
veteran. That's right. Air
That's
Force.
right.
Right.
So you can get your education through the military. You can also go the non-traditional, which is vocational schools.
Yes.
And so you can. My son went to Pennsylvania Culinary Institute. I don't know how that happened. Okay, I just don't know.
But it happened.
He graduated
Somehow.
a chef. Yes.
Right.
Okay. And so, you know, after a few years, he wanted to do something else. I said, that's
Okay.
impossible. The amount of money it cost me to put you in
Did you
that
say
school.
that's impossible?
That's right. You got at least 6 more years of this.
Oh my gosh. I'm getting my money back.
That's right. But you know, you can go to vocational schools. You can start them in high school. Charter schools also
Right.
can focus you too. But there are also a lot of non-traditional ways you can get that. My undergrad was actually obtained by working for AT&T.
Okay.
I went to their tuition assistance program and got my entire undergrad funded. And then when I switched to another telecommunications company, I got my master's funded.
Okay.
So even if you can't afford it right now and you have to go to work, go to work.
That's
because most programs or most companies do have tuition assistance programs that will help get you started. Also, I heard that President Obama is going to make 2-year college free to students. Yes.
Hallelujah.
So I'm
That
going
would
to
be
bring you
great.
some information on that too. I mean, there are a lot of programs and plans out there. You just have to, like you said, have the vision to set it.
right.
So let's look at this last slide. Let me help you set this vision. This September, I am going to host 2 classes only for those who are entering their 12th grade and they want to know, what do I do after graduation? It's one day for 6 hours, and it's intense study to help focus you. So I'm going to be looking at testing you to find out what career attributes are best fitting for you. We need to help you develop your personality, because you may want to be one thing, a kindergarten teacher, but you bark like a police officer.
That's
you
right.
know, that's not the career for you.
I don't know what these kids nowadays, but I didn't say that.
Exactly. I
you
want
did.
you to understand something, that while you are transitioning, if you get a job and you test positive for drugs, you are not going to get hired. If you want want to go into the military and you test positive for drugs, you are not going into the military, and you hope that they don't report you and you get arrested. So we're going to look at your drug, well, I can't say your drug activity, or your social life. Okay.
Please stand by.
Yes, we are going to test for drugs too, because you want to know. You want to know. So there's a whole lot that I'm going to be doing. So that class is going to start September the 12th on a Saturday from 9 to 3:30. Parents, I'm letting you know now, the cost is $147. I will not haggle. I will not discount. I will not negotiate, because I am giving you more.
That's right.
More than what I'm charging you for this course. And I'm only taking 12 students. So if you want your child to be a part of this program, and we're going to bring it, then you need to register as soon as possible, because I'm going to be hitting the ground September running with this.
Excellent.
And I'm going to be
Excellent.
monitoring your child throughout the 9-year period.
Wow.
That's
Whew.
excellent. Excellent.
All right.
Any
Okay.
early bird specials, anything?
No early
no
bird
early birds.
specials.
So I
I'm
tried to help
serious
y'all out,
about
folks.
it.
Discount. Military discount?
Nope.
Well, you know, I do want to show one video before we transition to
Okay,
you. And it's
sure.
real short. Parents, I know you've got some questions about that Scully video. So we're going to run that real quick so that you'll get a better understanding of what you're going to be downloading and how beneficial this is going to be for you. So, Mike, if you can roll tape.
Here's the problem. College costs an average of $495 kajillion a year, and it's not going down anytime soon. Scholarships should be the solution, but I just don't have time to sit and dig through a mile-long list of scholarships that I don't even qualify for on a website that was made in 1997. I mean, I've got classes, homework, club meetings. I'm a busy guy. What? You don't believe me? You think I'm wasting time scrolling through my newsfeed while I'm making this commercial? Nope. Scully. Scully makes it super easy for high school, undergrad, and graduate students to find and apply for scholarships. Just enter some personal information like your state, gender, race, and a few other things, and Scully fetches you a personalized, custom-tailored list of scholarships. And guess how many you're eligible for? All of them. Plus, Scully lets you know of new scholarships, reminds you when deadlines are near, and lets you read winning essays just in case you need inspiration. Scully does the digging so you don't have to. It's free money. Scully, the easy way to find scholarships. Available now for iPhone and Android. Or go to myscully.com.
Oh, isn't that cool?
Excellent.
Isn't that
I like
extremely
it.
awesome.
cool?
I
I
like
like
it.
it. Raining money.
I think everybody should know that's a young brother too.
That's
Oh
right.
my gosh. And he said on Shark Tank that he had been researching these scholarships for a very long time.
Wow.
So he's living and breathing this
Right,
too.
right.
But you know, enough about my segment.
Okay.
We are here to honor all three of you, because I hear you
Yes.
got something hot to talk about tonight and
Should be
qualifying
fun.
the
The grown and
relationship.
sexy
That's
part.
right. Grown and
Oh,
sexy.
okay, well, I'm going to be quiet and engage.
No, you're going to chime in too.
Yes.
So today we are here from the Power Social Network, and I have with me Skip Bland and Mr. Stacy Jordan, and we're going to talk about qualifying relationships. And if you could go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And we have with me Lady T. I'm the power broker, key broker. And then Mr. Skip Bland, he's the master broker. And Stacy Jordan, the motivational master. Next slide, please.
All right.
So when we talk about qualifying a relationship, I want to give a brief definition of what is qualifying. And I want to read it to you. To be fitted or competent for something, to get authority, license, power as by fulfilling required conditions, taking an oath. And we're going to roll this all together in our discussion. Keep that definition in mind. What is qualifying? If you could go to the next slide, please. So let's define qualifying. And we break that down into the word quality. And as an essential and distinctive characteristic, property, or attribute. For an example, the chemical qualities of a fine perfume.
I love French perfume.
Okay, I do too.
Okay.
Wow. And then personality or character trait. Let's give an example. Kindness is one of his or her good traits. That's a quality. And then good or high social position. Example, a man or a woman of quality. We look at that as being part of qualifications or qualifying someone. Next slide, please. So we have a couple things we're going to discuss this with you today. Relationships qualifications. We look at those things as your value set, physical, emotional, goals, your past experience, how that all brings into qualifying a relationship. Family, demands. What are you demanding of that person? Your style, financial. All of those are components for qualifying a relationship. Can you go to the next slide, please? So, when we look at relationships, and then this is where I want everyone to chime in. We look at values. Is it the same as yours? You have to ask yourself that question. Physical. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Men may look at women as a qualification. Do they look good? Do they have the babang, the curves that meet that eye? Emotional.
Listen to them. Oh my gosh.
Emotional.
Shouts out to my wife. I'll be home in about 25 minutes.
Okay, shout out to my husband. I'll be home in about later on this evening.
Chantel, I'm already there with you, baby.
Emotional. Can you live with a little bit of crazy? Have you qualified that person and understand that they may be just a tad bit off?
I can't do crazy.
And you going to be okay with that. Goals, know before you commit. Past experience. Everybody makes mistakes, but can you live with those mistakes?
Wow.
And when you're looking at qualifying. Family, it's all in the DNA. It don't change. I don't mind kids. Okay? Demands, make sure that no one gets hurt by your decisions. Style, don't be outdated. Sometimes you can, especially if there's a 10, 15-year difference, there may be some style differences
Generational
for
differences.
qualifying.
That's right.
Financial, if they broke, they ain't working, you good with that? That's a qualification. So let's go to the next slide. Dynamics of relationship. Here's where it all comes together. A man, you think, she feels. You approach in court. She sit back and accepts. You base your decision on facts and experience. She bases her decision on emotion and expectations. You say you love her. She tests you to see if you like and love her. She state your needs. She makes you figure out your needs. You have to lead. She gets to follow. You want sex. She withholds sex. And that's part of qualification. You think sex is primarily physical? She thinks sex is primarily emotional.
That's right.
Qualifications.
That's right.
You don't read minds. She thinks she does.
So are we talking past each other?
We talking past each other, all part of qualifying a relationship. So let's go to the next slide. Are you in a toxic relationship? But before we get to that topic, let's go back a slide. 2 slides, please.
Yeah.
One more. Okay. I'd like for the gentleman to chime in here. This is good. We've done this before. Down in Charles County, we've had Relationship Thursday. How we talk about qualifying a relationship between a man and a woman. But it goes into business as well.
Right.
So, what I'd like to open up with is Mr. Skip. You've been in a lot of relationships.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
She gonna put
I
your
get
business
around.
out there.
I get around. Q Tupac.
But Mr. Stacy, you've been a single man with a single woman.
That was a gentle touch.
That's right.
You ain't
But
lying.
skip
Why
it.
she
Skip it, I
put
go
me
back.
under the
Go.
bus?
Okay, but based
Maybe
on-
this was before I found Christ.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Okay.
right.
Please.
And your wife.
Before you found Christ.
And I'm clean from
That's
that.
right. Amen. Amen.
Accuser of the brethren.
Okay.
Right.
I love it. So, qualifying. Put your definition of qualifying a relationship.
I like to look at it as actually having ideal and in-depth communication, where you can actually listen to what each other are saying, as well as listen to what's not being said. And I think a lot of times that's one of the biggest gaps is we hear what we want to hear, and in doing so, we listen to those things that we've been wanting to hear in people. See, one of the things that I always learn is men know the game of being great listeners, because when you
Yes.
listen, women will tell you everything you need to know about how to get to their heart, because they always start off, this brother did this, he did this, he wouldn't do this, and that guy just say, yeah, I understand, that's great, yeah, and he's writing all that down in his mental tablet, and then before you know it, he has the keys to success to get to your heart.
That's right.
And so he says the things that you need to hear, and yet you hear them, but you're not qualifying what he's saying. You're not even qualifying the person that's saying it, because he's hitting all those little touch points that mean a lot to you. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of the relationships that are going on are really not being qualified.
So let me ask you this. Do women qualify based on what you just said? Do they actually qualify that man when they are pouring out their heart and soul to that man? Are they, and I'm just getting an assessment of how you see it. I think Tracy and I may see it a different, how we may qualify.
I don't think that that's a qualifying moment. I think that's
Okay.
just a giving up all of the goods, all the internal intelligence, and at the same time you have, because you got to realize you have to watch what you tell people.
Right.
That's
And
true.
that's the problem.
That's
So
true.
while you talking, you're not really qualifying. You have no idea. You haven't gone through any kind of steps to see if this person is
Is it-
worthy
that's
That's
it.
right.
of the emotional intelligence
Right.
that you're now laying on the table. You can't, again, you cannot tell everybody what's going on in your life.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Mr. Stacy.
Well.
Okay.
I'm kind of chomping at the bit here, because what I've noticed is a lot of times when we talk about qualifying, what people think is qualifying is not qualifying, and so a woman, and not everybody, and really when I'm talking a lot about the population that we're dealing with, which is a lot of younger women. Some of them have kids already, or just
Right.
just young, and see, you know, when you're young, you don't think the same. You
Right.
don't think to qualify. You
Right.
just go with how you feel. And so I've watched it happen. A guy come in and his hat matches watch, matches belt, matches shoes, and she like, he's qualified. You know, he's qualified because look, he smells so good. All right, I've seen this happen, and I know who the guy is. And while they looking at him, I know he's a felon. He's a felon, and he's got some other kids that he's taking care of. And if you have kids with him, he ain't gonna be able to give you any money because he's paying child support 2 and 3
But
times
that's why
over.
I asked the question, when they are sharing, are they, have they qualified?
Right.
I don't think.
Okay, because then, go ahead.
Well, I don't. You're not thinking qualified. That's what I
Okay.
mean, because
Okay, I got
you need to. When it comes to qualifying, you don't just qualify the other person. You qualify yourself. So when you start sharing, you need to be thinking, all right, let me qualify myself. Am I emotional right now? Am I hurt right now? Am I damaged right now?
That's right.
Am I broke right now?
Right.
You know, a lot of different reasons you may be putting yourself out there, and you won't qualify a person because you haven't qualified yourself and said, hey, this may not be a position I want to put myself in where I'm
Right,
making
right.
myself vulnerable. Like Skip said, you're giving the keys to the kingdom. I knew when I was younger, if I could get her to start talking about her boyfriend in a bad way, I got her.
There you go.
And you just
Oh,
listen.
So that's one of the
Right.
tricks.
Say that again.
Well, it was one of my tricks. I can't speak for everybody. You know, that's something I knew.
Right.
That if she started talking bad about him, I got him.
Right.
You know, somebody might be put off by that complaining, but I knew won't be long. I'll be driving her car and going to McDonald's with her money. You know, I was younger then. I'm not like that now.
That's
That's
real.
how it was. That was the
real.
truth.
So Tracy, qualifications. How do we actually, as women?
I think it's more along the line of what Stacy was talking about. If women are hurt, if they have no confidence within themselves, or they have no level of respect for themselves, then they're going to go out and qualify the first guy that's dressing
Right.
nice and looking good, you know, that will treat them to their understanding
That's right.
well, because no one's really told them how to qualify a guy. You know, I mean, I'm tough with the young girls. You really want to qualify them? then give up their social security number. Let's do a background check on them.
Okay.
Okay,
Check
let's
their
run a
credit.
financial check on them
Right,
and
right.
see. Then let's rule out some of those things. Let's do a drug test on them. You know.
So let me ask this question: if by happen you run the check
Mm-hmm.
and you find that their credit score is 400, so that would be a slight challenge.
Oh my God.
And have not worked in a couple years, but it's sporadic work, or they're doing some things on the side. But you really love them.
No, you don't.
You
you
really
don't.
love them. So how? Go ahead, Skip.
Well, you know, it's funny you said that, because I was thinking that as I was driving here, if that question ever came up, and it got to making me wonder. There are people, both men and women, that will see the faults in this potential mate, and they will still move forward, realizing
Right.
this person may be a bad fit, but then afterwards will look back and say, I knew all along that this person was not going to be right for me. And they always ask this question, I don't know what it is about him. Yes, you do.
Yes, you
That's
do.
right.
Yes,
You
you
do.
do.
You knew
Yes.
that he already had 2 or 3 babies. You already knew that it was 2 or 3 different mothers.
Mother, that's right.
You already knew that he had a trend of not taking care of business, but you still lay down with it. So I have to ask myself, what is it about them, not the
Right.
guy?
Right.
That's right.
And I'm only gonna what
That's
what
right.
about them that's making them say, you know what, in spite of all this, I can see the good in him.
Right.
Well, okay, I believe there's good in everybody, but that don't mean that I'm gonna hang out with you, because there's a whole lot
Right.
of bad that surrounds
That's
that
right.
good.
That's
Right.
right.
So I'm wondering, to my fellow colleague, what is it that's just making people say, I'm just gonna not believe I'm gonna say my eyes are lying.
Right. Right.
It couldn't be wrong. He's not right. It's probably the women that are causing
Right.
him a problem, and they're the reason why he can't take care of his babies. My brother Stacy, what are your thoughts on that?
Listen, I'm going to defer to what somebody who's almost in the genius category for me once said. We were sitting in class one time, and Tina dropped the bomb on the class. A bunch of women complaining about the guy and about what he was doing. And Tina said, well, you attract what's in you. And it's
Oh.
like,
That's
whoa,
right.
whoa.
That's
you know,
right.
that's a punch to the gut, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can talk about a guy not taking care of his children, and he's this and he's that. As a matter of fact, we had one girl sitting on the front row one time and brought the guy in.
Oh.
And he
my
said,
gosh.
he ain't, and, and there was an expletive after that. And, but that immediately rang in my head. Well, you attract what's in you. How do you complain about him? And we seen you these past couple weeks.
Yeah.
I know what's in you.
Yeah.
Okay, I ain't gonna say what you ain't. You know,
We know what you
Yeah,
is.
we show what you show is.
They come out like that.
Okay.
And we blurt that one out.
Real talk.
Yeah.
You know, so you attract what's in you, and so in qualifying, know what's in you. Qualify yourself.
Yourself. Exactly.
Know what's in you.
Do many women know how to qualify what's in themselves, or men?
People.
For that.
Yeah.
I mean, how much? Now, I'll just put it out there. How much does physical attraction and sex play into pre-qualifying someone?
Ooh,
Let's
okay.
just be real. Let's just be real. I mean, we want the standard, go step A, step B. But typically in relationships that we're seeing now, that's not necessarily the case.
Well, I mean, I see that, and I pardon my French, if it's golden and it's working and it's doing all the tricks she wants it to do, she's going to qualify him to the top.
Okay.
Because
Right.
he's fulfilling that piece
I got
of
you.
her.
Okay.
The other stuff, the fusses and the fights and things like that, they can get through.
Is that
That's
that
what she
in-house
believes in.
D and in-house P we were talking about?
I think my kids are watching Skip.
Hey.
Wow. I like it. I like it. But I think that's part of it. How much does that cloud qualifying,
A lot.
pre-qualifying, gentlemen?
Why I think
Does
we,
it
we-
for men? For men, does it, when you get AP, does that cloud the pre-qualification process in your mind?
Well, I think that men, especially young men, when you're first coming out of the stables, you're not really looking for a helpmate or a wife. You're looking for some gratification, and so you automatically look at the looks, the body, and all that. You know, my brother Stacy had taught me something that I thought was profound. You know, women, when they're actually looking at men, they don't even realize they're looking for husbands. Even though for that moment it seems like this is just a temporary, he's my boyfriend, but they're actually looking for a helpmate, someone to establish a long-term relationship with. Whereas men, it's more mechanical for us. It's almost, and I hate to say it like this, but almost like we're going to use the bathroom. Oh, this brings me relief, I can move on. And so a lot of times we're not looking for that longevity person. We're just looking at, hey, I like the way she looks. I like the way she looks on my arm, and she's you know, she's got something that I want.
And she's emotionally invested, and the
she,
man is.
She
Right.
is,
Right.
and you know that goes to a lot of what I personally believe in, which is you have to train manhood. The idea is that a boy is looking to bang everything he can, knock him down. Well, that's not far from accurate, you know, but I know my father didn't teach me that. I learned a lot of that by what I watched, but my father didn't teach me that. Now, what my father and what my parents did actually teach me was to find a wife, and I felt I had that motivation early. When I was, I don't know, maybe 13, between 13 and 15, I knew when I wanted to be married, and I missed it by a year, you know, but I knew I wanted to be married. My wife, before we got married, could be confident in the fact that I wanted to be married because that was taught to me. It was trained. So I think that when manhood isn't taught, and manhood has to be taught, it's not something that a boy just gets, okay? If you get a man who's not been taught to be a man, he's a male, okay? And like a male anything, he will hump whatever.
Okay.
I got a dog, I put a female back there, he gonna hump her. That's it. That's all he gonna do,
Yep.
okay? That's what he's gonna do. And so that's what a male does. But becoming a man requires training. That's why these cultures have rites of passage and things like that, because they're training these boys to be men. And so what we have is a generation of boys who haven't been taught to be men.
Right.
The virtue is to be male. The virtue is to sleep with as many as you can. And what we get when we do these projects in social service is the aftermath of what Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne make sound fun.
Right.
That's right.
You know, a couple months later, when he was being male and not taking care of his kids, because when my male dog hump, he don't come back to look after the puppy.
That's
He
right.
don't do that.
Right.
Oh, that's
And so
good analogy.
now you're here, you know, and you were listening to that stuff, but that stuff ain't gonna help you now. You
Right.
were listening to those messages. Now those messages are directly come against. They are an assault to your livelihood, your life
Right.
with this child. And you know, we got to train men to be better. We have to train these boys to start to understand. You don't just go sleep around with anybody you can. You got to be a man. You take care. That's what you do.
That's
So
right.
we're coming to a close. I'm interested in knowing, do you all have programs that you're teaching the young women and the young men to be?
Well, yeah, down at Charles County Department of Social Services, we have a fatherhood initiative that comes on every Wednesday at 10 o'clock from 10 to 12. And it's primarily for those individuals who have been determined by the government or the judicial system that you must pay subsistence, child care, child support for your child. But what it also does is kind of reaches back to them to kind of explain what's going on in them, because what we found is there's a lot of men who did not have a father in their home.
That's right.
Right.
And so the practices that they have are of a male and not a
Right.
man. And so right now they're trying to find out, wait a minute, how do I transition from being a male to a man, because now I have children and I want to be responsible. And so that program is ongoing, and it's just a matter of coming down to Department of Social Services in Charles County and meeting with a Mr. Atwater.
Anyone can come?
Any man
any
can come,
man.
because right now what we're trying to do is get men in there.
That's
Okay.
right.
Because that's the key, is to getting them in there. Now, I always forewarn them, this is not a soft program. We're not in there touching, feeling, and hugging.
Good.
We cutting you to the quick.
You fixed to get cut.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you're going to get cut. But we're going to cut you, and then we're going to hug you.
Okay.
So you
all
back
right.
up.
Yeah, so you back up, and a lot of
right,
men are
that's
starting
right.
to appreciate that. So that's what we're doing. And then on, of course, Tuesdays and Thursdays we have the. It started off as a job
Jobs
Center
program.
job program. But while we were in there, we were noticing, wait a minute, these people already have jobs. They don't need help getting a job. They need help on keeping a job.
right.
That's right.
And then it turned out we started doing life coaching. So it's been really a wonderful blessing for not only them but for us. And so,
right.
and Tina can tell you a little bit more about that.
That's
Okay.
right. And we're just down there Tuesday and Thursday, 10 to 12. And we have all populations, those ladies and gentlemen, getting assistance from the county. And we have fun. We have a lot of fun.
Well, I
if
can
you want
tell.
to come in and sit and partake of any of us, we are there and we have a ball.
Okay, all right. Stacey, you have some closing
Also,
words.
with that, I do. I have a program. Well, mannerisms is what it's called. Mannerisms.com is how you can find us. MAM-ERISMS.com. And it's things every man needs to know and every woman wants to know about true manhood. And we go through what I was just talking about, the difference between male and man, talking to women about it and men about it, how to become that. I talk to boys about it, talk to men about it, anybody. I'm a speaker. And so I go around as I'm called. So if you want to find me, you can find me at, you can Instagram me at Stace Speaks on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm Sir Stace. And on Facebook, you can find me at Mannerisms by Stacey Jordan.
And I will have all of their contact information uploaded tonight on MentorMe411.com. This has been great. And we got to have you back because I want to hear some more about the programs.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Excellent.
And we're going to be back next week with social health, and hopefully William will be back. But if not, I've been planning a segment. Have you all heard of Hidden Colors?
No.
Okay,
What
all
is
right.
that?
Well, how about Black Wall Street?
Yeah,
I've heard of Black
We're
Wall
about to
Street.
go
Yes.
into the community and find out about this
Excellent.
uprise. So, we've got a lot of time
Right.
between now and then. And so, in closing, I just like to say to everybody, we want you to be safe, be smart, and be
healthy.
healthy. Bye-bye.
Well, I wear my clothes like this because I can. And I wear my hair like this because I can. And I walk around like this because I can. And I do my thing like this because it's who I am. And if you expect me to give you an apology for being nothing that you're used to, go right ahead and wait. Hold your breath and concentrate. Keep holding till your face turn blue. My road ain't your road, but just I know just where I'm going. My flow ain't your flow, but just I know just how I'm flowing. I'ma do my thing. Please feel free to hate and complain. I'ma do my thing. Say what you want, but this one ain't gonna change. I'ma do my thing. I can't wear my clothes like